Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's that kind of morning, right? Let's try it again. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. My name is Campbell Vertesi. I am the Microsoft CTO for the partnership with Red Hat, and I'm very excited to be here today to talk about the GA of OpenShift Virtualization on Azure Red Hat OpenShift. VMs, containers, and AI workloads all driven through one platform. We're going to be joined by a real customer who's used Arrow to develop and drive 200 AI applications in their first year. We'll be joined by Arrow PM, Mayuri Gupta, to talk in depth about the product and show you a little bit of how it works. So this is enough blah, blah, blah. Let's get on with it. Let's be honest with each other. Business is rough right now. It's hard. We have so many competing priorities going on. 72% of organizations are already using generative AI. Hands up if your organization is using generative AI. My hand has to be up for this one. This feels to me a little bit like high school. Everybody else is wearing Nike Airs. Why aren't you? But we all have to be adopting. This is a legitimate tidal wave change in our industry. At the same time, today's economy demands cost optimization. At the same time, cybersecurity threats are becoming more complex and more damaging. The kind of cybersecurity threats that we are facing with Gen AI are extraordinary, unprecedented. But we have IT skills shortages too. 90% of organizations, most everyone in this room, should have some experience with IT skill shortages. Hands up, have you run into this problem? Yeah. Oh, and let's not forget geopolitics. Compliance challenges are harder. Sovereignty is much more than just a buzzword now. And the best part is, these are all overlapping. It's not just dealing with competing priorities at arm's length from each other. You actually need to deal with multiple sovereign regions for doing your AI innovation in a cost-effective way. It is extremely challenging. So this is the Azure promise, as we like to call it. This kind of innovation, navigating this kind of complexity is not a one-size-fits-all journey. Good luck writing a single template for everyone, right? Every organization has their own unique path based on your industry, how your company operates, your own procurement, finance, policies, your IT maturity. But we all have to deal with these immediate challenges, right? Rising costs, security, control over your IT sprawl, while we position ourselves for innovation. So the promise of Azure is about meeting you wherever you are in your journey, setting you up for success according to what your business actually needs, not according to what we think this has to look like. So you get to walk the path your way with this flexibility. Balance your business priorities with future readiness. Maximize the ROI on your core systems and position yourself for innovation. This year, we are celebrating an important birthday. This is 10 years of the partnership between Microsoft and Red Hat. Now, who here remembers the partnership announcement in 2015? Who was around for that? This is important. Now, I'm really surprised that it's so few of us, but we're going to still go through with this, all right? Who here remembers some of the comments that Microsoft made about Linux and open source in the decade before that? Who here came up in the time of the Halloween memos, right? For me, when I joined Microsoft, it was unthinkable that something like this would be possible. 10 years ago, if you had told me that the core engineers from Azure and core engineers from Red Hat would be working together, shoulder to shoulder on single products, that they would be open source products with deep integration into the rest of Azure, I mean, I would have laughed at you. And if you had told me about some of the things that fall off the right-hand side of this slide that I'm not allowed to talk to you about directly yet, I probably would have called the police. It is an incredibly exciting time to be in this partnership because now Red Hat and Azure Red Hat OpenShift and RHEL in particular, we are at the leading edge of what Azure can do, and we are really working closely with Azure Compute. This is what a long-term partnership really looks like. This is what trust between us really looks like, and trust with our customers really looks like, and we are just getting started. So, Azure Red Hat OpenShift. If you don't know what it is yet, the short overview, it is our fully managed Microsoft first-party enterprise Kubernetes platform. It is an implementation of OpenShift that we jointly manage, engineer, and maintain with Red Hat. Right? Turnkey, enterprise-ready experience, and it is native to Azure. It is maintained by the engineers that maintain OpenShift and the engineers that maintain Azure. This means you get to build, deploy, scale applications faster because we are taking care of the platform part that is not likely to be a core part of your business. I don't know what your business is, but I doubt that it is about spending all of your money and risk on managing your own platform. It is built for hybrid. It is built for multi-cloud. It's a comprehensive application platform. That's what we mean when we say that. And it integrates with the rest of Azure. So if you are standardized on the Azure ecosystem, Azure Monitor, Key Vault, Azure Policies, and so on, OpenShift is built to work with that. If you are standardized on the Red Hat ecosystem, OpenShift is built to work with that. If you are standardized on cloud native, OpenShift is built to work with that. The last point, this is not a deep slide, so I want to move to the next one, but the last point I want to make is to be clear about what we mean when we say it's managed. We take care of patching, scaling, upgrades for you. Because it's built into our platform, you have the same benefits that you get from any other Azure first-party solution in Azure consumption commitment drawdown, MAC drawdown. The same on the Red Hat side. If you have a hybrid committed spend, you can draw down that as well. And joint enterprise-grade support. So here's how this works, right? With the Red Hat partnership, we really try to give you enterprise-grade consistency, which is the promise of Red Hat, at all layers. So modern apps, VMs, AI solutions, whatever it is you're doing, you can use pieces of the Red Hat stack deeply integrated with Azure. So at the top we have OpenShift, Azure Red Hat OpenShift, secure, flexible application platform. I think I dropped all the buzzwords already. Any workload, anywhere, that's great. It runs on OpenShift Kubernetes engine, right? That's the OpenShift implementation of Kubernetes. Standardizes your deployment and your scaling. This is the same thing that you would run in any and every other environment. And RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, underpins all of it. Actually, OpenShift is built on RHEL-based images. And of course, you can also use Azure VMs running on Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And it gives you a standard set of operations. Again, all of your environments, physical, virtual, private, public clouds, in your grandmother's laundry room, at the edge, you can run the stack everywhere. Now we can get into the product itself, and I'd like to welcome to the stage Mayuri Gupta. She's the Microsoft Product Manager for Azure Red Hat OpenShift.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Campbell. Now it's time for our big announcement. This year, Ignite 2025, we have announced the general availability of OpenShift virtualization on Azure Red Hat OpenShift. This brings the VMs and containers together under one platform, under one control plane, and it helps our customers modernize their infrastructure, simplify their operations, and accelerate hybrid cloud transformation under Red Hat and Microsoft innovation. With the general availability of OpenShift virtualization on Aero, you can finally manage the infrastructure for both VMs and containers as one unit. You can leverage the same CI/CD principles, GitOps pipelines, and converge your platform engineering efforts. You also get the freedom to modernize the applications at your own pace. So today you are lifting and shifting the VMs from your existing virtualization platform to OpenShift virtualization, and this is done without refactoring of any application code. It's a simple lift and shift. And tomorrow, based on when you are ready, that is when you can containerize your applications, modernize your applications while still being on the same platform. That is Azure Red Hat OpenShift. Why? Because this is on cloud and this is a cloud native platform. Lastly, because this is on cloud, this is where you can maximize your resource utilization by leveraging the cloud scalability and the cloud flexibility. We released the announcement blog on Tuesday, so you can scan this QR code and go into the details of exactly what that announcement was, where Aero fits, what OpenShift virtualization is, and get to the details of it. Or you can also go to this URL at the bottom, aka.ms/aero/what. Now, this slide ties everything together and shows you how VMs and containers are made available in one platform. This is all being made possible by making use of Azure Boost technology. This is what provides hardware-backed acceleration. It offloads a lot of storage and networking operations from the host and makes more resources available to the VM workloads that are running on top of it. And it helps us minimize the virtualization overhead and provides better performance for your VM workloads. And what does that get you? It gets you a single platform under one control plane. Like I mentioned, CI/CD, GitOps, Kubernetes APIs, you can leverage all of those same cloud native principles to also manage your VM lifecycle management. You get to standardize on OpenShift. So if you already have, let's say, OpenShift running on premises or in multi-cloud, by making use of OpenShift now in Azure as well, you can standardize on the same platform for your multiple environments. With OpenShift virtualization, you also get built-in VM operations, and we'll see that in a bit when I get to the demo. You'll see how everything is put together in one cohesive unit, and from the same UI experience, you can get you can operate and manage your VMs as well, just like how you would manage the VMs on premises or in any existing virtualization environment. Lastly, I want to quickly mention on this slide that today, when we have announced the OpenShift virtualization GA, today we have two different persistent storage options for VMs. One is OpenShift Data Foundation, and the other one is Azure NetApp Files. So we also announced the availability of ANF in preview along with this announcement. One big reason to migrate to OpenShift virtualization is, I would say, instant modernization. Why? Because you're moving to cloud, and not just cloud, you're moving to a cloud native platform, which helps you streamline your IT operations from the get-go. This is where, as I was saying, this is where you get to consolidate your platform engineering efforts. So today, the platform engineering teams may be siloed. You may have VM platform engineering, the ones who manage your VM infrastructure as a separate unit. And then you may also have a separate unit for cloud native container management. But here you can consolidate those operations. And along with that, you also get to leverage the infrastructure as code principles using the same Kubernetes-based tooling. And finally, this is an architecture that future-proofs you. So today, when you're migrating your VM workloads, you're not modernizing them yet. But tomorrow, when you're ready, you don't need to, at that point of time, you do not need to procure new hardware or procure new software and run through those assessments, evaluations again, because you've already done that. today with the migration itself. Next, I want to quickly run through and show you how with this environment, with this platform, you can maximize your resource utilization. So on the left side here, you can imagine that there are 3 VMs, which let's say you are running on premises, and each of these 3 VMs together are consuming 160 cores and 640 gigs of RAM. And inside those big boxes, you see the smaller dark boxes, which are actually your VM workloads. And as you can see, the utilization of your hardware, procured hardware, is a lot less. But when you move to cloud, let's say if you move these same VM workloads to Azure Red Hat OpenShift now, you can pack these VM workloads on top of each other. Why you can do that? Because it's cloud, and you do not need to go and have those go through the hardware procurement cycles to procure your hardware when you do need to scale out. So as an example, a VM node scale out with OpenShift nodes can happen in less than 7 minutes. And that gets you to about 40% resource utilization. On top of that, using a feature with OpenShift virtualization called as VM over commit, something I'm sure everybody of us must be familiar with. This is a very common technique that you do on premises to over provision, or I would say over assign the VM cores on premises. So you can do that with OpenShift virtualization, put your low priority workloads on the same set of infrastructure, further maximizing your resource utilization. And that can get you upwards of 60% resource utilization. Now, before I go into the demo, I want to quickly summarize some of the key factors for migration consideration. First one is here with OpenShift virtualization, you get to streamline your operations and bring in those IT efficiencies. This is where you can maximize your resource utilization by leveraging cloud flexibility and cloud scalability. If you have Windows Server VMs today and they are running on premises in any existing environment, and if you have active software assurance or subscription enabled for them, then those VMs are supported on OpenShift virtualization through Azure Hybrid Benefit, which I believe may be important to a lot of you out here. And lastly, as Campbell pointed out earlier, any spend that you do against OpenShift virtualization is MAC deductible, because eventually it's an operator that rests on top of OpenShift, Azure Red Hat OpenShift, and every spend is MAC deductible as well. So with that, now let's get into a demo. And in this demo, I'm going to be showing you 3 different things. First is OpenShift virtualization, how it can be used to operate and manage your VM infrastructure. Second, I'll be going through a tool called Migration Toolkit for Virtualization that helps you to migrate your VMs from any existing environment, and you can also use that tool to migrate from this environment to any other environment. And lastly, there is an add-on of OpenShift called Advanced Cluster Manager that you can leverage to get a single pane of glass view that helps you operate and manage VMs and containers together. So let's get started. All right, so I'm logged in here as a cluster admin. This is an OpenShift console. I'm logged in as an admin, and I already have 2 operators deployed here. One is OpenShift virtualization, and the other one is Migration Toolkit for Virtualization, which is why you see both of these on the left side navigation pane. So first, I'm going to go ahead and expand on virtualization. Further, I go ahead and click on virtual machines. This provides you a view of all the virtual machines that are running in this particular cluster, which node those machines are running on, those VMs are running on, what their IP addresses are, and some of the other details of those VMs. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is the view where you can also, from where you can also create new VMs. So right now, I'm going to use an instance type mechanism to create the VM. First, I would be asked what machine I want to choose. So I want to choose a RHEL 10 operating system. Further, I can provide what type of machine it's going to be, general purpose, memory optimized. This is where I can decide what disk size this persistent storage would need. the name of the VM, storage class, I want to use a persistent storage type, and so on. And then I can go ahead, create the virtual machine. Here what's interesting is that once you've created the virtual machine, you would realize that there are two different ways you can manage the life cycle of this VM, manage what is the configuration of this VM. One is through YAMLs. So as you may have just seen before, that there are two different ways. So YAMLs provides you a Kubernetes way, a cloud native way of managing the VM deployment. And if you already have CI/CD pipelines built in, you can further enhance them, put the VM configurations and VM deployments as well into those pipelines to manage those the YAML way. And the other is a configuration tab, which basically provides you a ClickOps experience that your VM admins and your operators may already be using today. And from here, you can change the configurations like how many resources are being used by this VM, what IP address it's being used. You want to make any changes that you do on premises for your VMs. All of that can also be done here in the same fashion using ClickOps. Next, I want to go to Migration Toolkit for Virtualization. So here on the left side navigation pane, I have this tab for Migration for Virtualization. I'm going to expand on that and click on Providers. This is where you see all the providers that are currently imported and added to this specific cluster. Here you can add any existing platform that you may have, vCenter, ESXi host, OpenStack environment. You need to add those providers in advance before you actually start planning for your migration. Next, once you have added those, you can start creating the migration plan. So I'm going to go here and say create plan. This is where you choose what provider you want to migrate from. Once you have selected that, it's going to show you all the machines that are running on that provider. You go ahead and select the machines you wish to migrate. And then it'll ask you some configurations like the network mapping or the storage mapping that you wish to have, you wish to arrange for this VM. You can also, this is where you can also decide whether your VM is going to preserve the static IPs after the migration. And a very interesting aspect of this migration plan is that this is where you can curate and customize how you would want to migrate. So let's say if you are also using Red Hat Automation Ansible platform, then you can create those Ansible scripts and attach those here as pre-hook and post-hook. And those are the scripts that would run before the migration and after the migration for complete customization. And then finally, you can go ahead and create the migration plan. Once the migration plan is ready, and when you are ready, you can start the migration, and depending on what type of migration it is, it's a cold migration or a warm migration, how you're going to copy the disk, what size, what is the volume of the disk, depending on that, it is going to take the time, and migration would basically be completed. So I'm not going to go through the migration journey end to end, but now I want to switch to Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management Solution, which is an add-on. And what that allows you is that it provides you a single pane of glass. So right now my cluster is on 4.20 version, which is why, as you can see, I don't know how many of you have already seen this experience, but with 4.20, this experience has been revised by a good margin. And if you have imported a particular cluster into ACM, you would see that from the drop down where you choose what type of view you are seeing, you can also navigate to fleet management. And fleet management is basically what gives you access to ACM. And once you navigate over here, there are quite a few things that you can do. One is when you land on the overview page, this is where you can see all the clusters that are connected to ACM. And these clusters may be running on premises, they may be running in different cloud environments, but this helps you consolidate and bring everything together. So you do not need to leave your current environment to look at all of your VM workloads and the infrastructure that you're running. So here, as you can see, there are 3 clusters that I've imported. In ACM, you have 149 applications, multiple nodes running within every cluster, and you can see further details like node types, operating system types, and so on. Further, I can navigate to virtual machines from this view. And this is a very interesting view. This shows you all the VMs that are spread across all of your environments. So if you have imported all of your different environments into ACM, this is where you see all of the VMs together in one view. And not just that, just like how you would operate your VMs on premises, this is where you can operate those VMs and perform those VM admin operations from the get-go. Things like stopping the virtual machine, restarting, even taking snapshot. All of that is doable from this fleet management view. Further, there's also a cluster view which provides you details of all the clusters that have been imported into this environment, into ACM. So your local cluster and all of the imported cluster, you can see details like the health of each of those clusters, the OpenShift version each of them is running, the number of nodes each of them is running, and so on. And this brings me to the end of my demo. Now I'm going to toss it to Campbell and Phelipi of Banco Bradesco to go over their AI adoption story that is built on the foundation of ARO.
Thanks very much. Phelipi, come on up to the stage, please. It's good to see you, and I'll see if I get this right. Is that right?
Hello, yeah, perfect.
That's apparently a Brazilian thing, or you're just trolling me? One way or the other, I think I did it all right. So, Banco Bradesco, you're the data engineering manager for Banco Bradesco, and your success story is providing secure and scalable AI transformation. You gotta love the buzzwords, but practically that means 74 million customers and 500 plus AI initiatives deployed in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So 500 AI initiatives is amazing. What was the catalyst for this scale?
Perfect. Hi, everyone. In Brazil, our customers expect a seamless intelligence service. And to deliver, we needed to scale AI across the enterprise. But we couldn't do it with the legacy environment and manual process. So Arrow enabled us to move fast and securely.
Right. So seamlessness, fast and secure. If I didn't call out those buzzwords earlier, I'm really happy that you did. So what were the challenges? What were the pain points that you were dealing with that made you want to move to Arrow before you adopted it?
Yeah, this is a nice question because we had no elastic scaling. Manual operation slowed us down, and there were other challenges, And the big question was, how do we scale enterprise-wide while maintaining the security, the governance, and agility?
Right. This is something that I hear from a lot of our customers who are migrating into Arrow or into the Azure environment, especially around AI. If it's already hard to maintain your data center sprawl and understand, rationalize your environment around the world, the challenge of global flexibility and scale with something as costly as GPU and the capacity that you need for AI is intense.
Yeah.
So what made you choose Arrow as your foundation then?
Yes, perfect. Arrow provides, for example, enterprise container orchestration, multi-cloud flexibility, and built-in security and compliance for financial services, So Arrow integrates with all the research that we have on the Azure, like Azure OpenAI, in a fast and secure way. It's excellent for us.
Mm-hmm. This makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of the time people think about the Azure AI story as being limited to only the Azure model of doing AI or only the Microsoft tools and models. And so my understanding here is that you have an API platform called your AI Bridge.
Perfect.
And everything is built on top of that. Right, and then using the bridge, you manage to leverage the rest of Azure AI. I mean, how does Arrow fit into the architecture?
Yeah, Arrow is the backbone, Arrow orchestrates AI workloads, connect to Azure OpenAI and other services, and support everything from basic process to multi-agent solutions. Arrow is the platform that makes our bridge solution possible, you know?
Right. So it's really connecting these services together in a lot of cases too.
Yes, on the bridge there is a lot of capabilities to deliver for all the application into Bradesco. For example, classification, summarization, audio transcript, create virtual assistant with Q&A, and our application can choose what the best model to use, because we can use external partners, for example, Google, using LM models for Gemini, DeepSeek, GPT, Llama, and more than 1,000 models that we have on the Azure Foundry. That this is on the bridge, you know?
So it's, I mean, a really fast kind of mix and match tooling that you put together for it. All right, I may be an engineer, but I have to live and operate on the business side. So what are the business data points that you use when you tell people this has been a success story?
Yes, with the bridge, really we have a lot of success results, you know. For example, we got a 80% resolution rate and 89% request irritation with our virtual assistant BIA.
Wait, so that's a virtual assistant,
yeah,
right, that resolved 80%
perfect
of requests
yeah.
autonomously?
Yeah, yes.
And 89% people stay with it?
Yes,
That's
perfect.
Fantastic.
And not only is because the productivity for managers increased 8 times, and with the bridge we can deploy a new application with GenAI 10 times faster. There is a lot of use case using bridge. The use case includes, for example, customer service, technology, management tools, and other things to help all the business applications at Bradesco.
10x improvement in how fast applications. I mean, I guess that's implied by 200 plus in a year and 500 in 2 years. So the rate is increasing. I mean, is it scary sometimes? I guess. No, wait. Important question. 8 times manager productivity improvement. Does that mean 8 times more meetings or 8 times less meetings?
Less meeting.
Okay, I hope my manager is listening. Okay, so this is an audience kind of by definition, other people who are learning about Arrow, considering Arrow for their AI journey. What are the top lessons that you want them to take away from the session?
Yes, I like to say the first step starts with the foundation, you know, because Arrow helped us to deploy more than 200 AI initiatives, build governance for day one, and think about the platform instead of projects alone, you know. And we make AI simple and standardize it to make innovation possible at Bradesco.
So actually, it sounds like it's not that scary. You probably don't have to think about how many applications are going live on any given day. You are dealing with the standards and the underpinning for everything.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. The good pro tip is, all right, before I let you go, do you have any final thoughts on Arrow's role in the Bradesco journey?
Yes. Arrow isn't just an infrastructure, you know. Arrow is the foundation that made the AI possible at scale. And we went from 0 to more than 200 AI initiatives in just 1 year. And became a market leader in AI innovation in Brazil. It's so perfect for us. And I just to say thank you, Campbell, thank you, Microsoft team, to transform customer experience in Brazil using the bridge and GenAI.
Thank you very much. So, Mayuri, can you come back up and join me for the last bit here? We want to leave you with a few key next steps. Now, make sure you have your phones ready because there's a lot of QR codes and pictures you're going to want to snap of the next few slides. First of all, if you are already using Azure Red Hat OpenShift. Next move is explore OpenShift virtualization in your environment. Start by identifying workloads that can benefit from platform consolidation. Those are the easy wins, whether it's test or dev environments or production workloads that you can get off traditional hypervisors. It's a great place to start finding those immediate efficiency gains to show your boss that this is a worthwhile use of your time. If you are new to Arrow, start with a proof of concept. Right? Start small. Leverage Azure's Migration and Modernization Program, AMMP. We have funded assessments. We have architecture design sessions with you. The teams at Microsoft and Red Hat will help you build a modernization plan that is tailored for your business and technological environment. Shortly after the session, we'll have a Q&A at the Microsoft booth with Mayuri and one of our North America's GBBs, and I'll be there this afternoon. You can ask us all of the hard questions. Feel free to corner us. We really like it. Thank you very much for your joining us today, for your interest in OpenShift virtualization on Azure Red Hat OpenShift. We are excited about how the solution can help you simplify your life. Simplify your infrastructure, modernize your workloads, more or less at the flip of a switch, like Mayuri was saying, and unlock real efficiency in your hybrid environments. If you'd like to learn more, talk to your Microsoft or Red Hat representative. Visit this aka.ms link, aka.ms/arrow/vert. That's where we're centralizing our resources, hands-on guidance. Really appreciate your time, and we look forward to helping you take your next step in the modernization journey. Here are some other sessions that you may want to check out. Most of these are in the past, so you'll have to use the tubes. You'll have to watch the non-live stream. What do you call the opposite of a live stream? You'll have to watch the recordings, but all of these ones are relevant to learning more. Thank you very much. And we'll see you hopefully at the booth.
Thank you, everyone.